Creating a user authentication backend is a crucial part of many web applications, allowing users to register, log in, and manage their accounts securely. In this tutorial, we will focus on building a user authentication backend using JWT and Django REST framework. JWT is a powerful library that provides a set of views and serializers for handling user authentication process, while Django REST framework offers a flexible toolkit for building APIs in Django. By the end of this tutorial, you will have a fully functional user authentication backend that includes user registration, login, logout, password reset, and token refresh functionalities. This backend will serve as the foundation for any web application that requires user authentication, providing a seamless and secure experience. Don't forget to subscribe and let's get into it. This is what we are going to be having at the end of the tutorial. So we have the client over here using the request library that we wrote in Python. Then you'll be able to create a user using this particular endpoint. You supply your data, then after creating the user, you have to activate the user. Okay, you have to activate the user. After creating a user for the first time, if you don't activate the user will not be able to log in. All right. So as soon as you create a new user, the user will get an email. So I'm using Mailhog over here. So I think this is the account activation email. Okay, account activation email. So this is what it will look like. They will get a UID and whatsoever. I'll show you how to configure everything. Don't worry. So after user activation, they will be able to log in, get their access and refresh tokens. They'll be able to make authenticated requests like viewing their profile or viewing a protected having access to a protected view basically. So then they'll be able to edit their profiles. They will be able to delete if they want to delete their account. And this edit profile that we have over here, it is only for the required fields, which are first name, last name, and username. If you want to change your email address, you can reset your email from here. Okay, you can reset your email from here. So after trying to reset your email, you have to confirm your reset email, your email address. You have to confirm your email address. So and so many other stuff here. You can change your password from here, and if you want to reset your password such that the user is not logged in, but they have to reset their password. They have to all they have to do is just to confirm their email address. And apart from that, you'll be able. I'll be showing you how to refresh token. So I tried as at the time I'm preparing for the tutorial, I tried refreshing my token from Jupyter, but for some funny reasons, it was giving me what I don't want to see. So I had to do it from the terminal, and it gave me the access token um, that I wanted. So if you come here to the terminal, you can see the access token over here. You can see this is the access token. It is working fine on terminal. So yeah, that is everything we are going to be doing basically in this tutorial. Make sure you stay till the end, and thank you very much. Before you understand what is going on in this particular tutorial, you need to understand Django and Django REST framework, and you need to understand Python as well. So if you need help with any of those, you can just come to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/at ideas, or you can just Google search it or come to YouTube to look for it. So it will bring you to our YouTube channel. So if you come under videos, you will see all our tutorials. If you are looking to learn more on Django REST, I think everything is under a playlist. Yes, I made it easier. So just come to the seasoned Python web developer, then come to view full playlists. Then you see everything here. So if you have to learn Python, this is the Python tutorial. If you have to learn Django, this is the Django tutorial, and this is the Django REST framework tutorial. Okay. So those are the prerequisites basically. So if you need to get yourself up to speed, you can just use those tutorials. We have other tutorials here that might help you. This is the user authentication tutorial that I did before in the past. So I think I released this 3 weeks ago. So as at the point of recording this tutorial, it's just 3 weeks. With all that said and done, let's get into our tutorial. For this tutorial, we are not going to be using a front end. We are not going to be building a front end. We are going to be using a client using written with Python. So I'm going to be using Jupyter Notebook. You can use whatsoever you want. You can even run your code from a Python script, maybe on another window of VS Code or something. You just use the terminal. So whatever you want to do, you are totally free. But for me, let's go and start working on the development environment. So come here. This is my folder. You have to create a folder on your computer. So I'll open mine in terminal. Now I have to create a virtual environment first. I advise my students every time, if you're working on a Python project, especially Django, try to work in a virtual environment. So this will be virtual env. Then the name of my folder is going to be dd underscore env. So now I have this folder over here. I have this folder. So I have to install everything I need to build my project. So I have to cd into dd underscore env, and if I should list everything, you see that I have this bin folder, this binaries folder, the libraries, and this other configuration file. So and you can see the git ignore file. We have no use for it for now. So I can start installing everything I need to build the project. So pip install. We are going to be needing Django. We are going to be needing Django REST framework. We are going to be needing um simple JWT Django REST framework, simple JWT, then JSON. Yes, this is everything we need. So this is everything we need. So it will pull everything into our virtual environment. I think I made a mistake somewhere here. Yes. So the mistake I made over here is that I'm installing all these commands that I executed. This command as at now, it installed all these packages on my computer globally, not inside that virtual environment. For it to be installed inside that virtual environment, I have to activate the virtual environment first. Okay, I have to activate the virtual environment first. How can I activate it? So just bin slash activate. Okay, so now that my virtual environment is active, this is what I can use to easily tell that my virtual environment is active. Then let me run that command again. So it will install all those packages inside the virtual environment and not globally on my computer. All right, so there is a cached version of all the packages on my computer. That is the reason why it just installed them directly. It is installing from that cached version on my laptop. That is what is happening over here. So we just have to wait a bit for it to install. Now that I have all my packages installed, for me to confirm that the packages have been installed, if you come under libraries, Python 3.11 and site packages, all the packages have been installed. You can see the REST framework, the JOSA, and every other package. So now we can start development. So I want to start my Django project. So Django admin, start a new project, and the name of this project is going to be Backend. So if you come here, you will see a new folder, Backend. So I want to cd into this backend. So cd backend, then code, so that I can open it in VS Code. So this is my backend in VS Code now. Then after doing that, Python manage.py start a new application account. Okay. It should be Python Python. Okay, so if you go back to this, you can see account and backend. So our development environment is complete. For us to be sure that it is working fine, I can just come here and Python manage.py. Then let me just run server. So okay, no problem. I have some unapplied migrations. Then let me just, this is the client that we are going to be using. We are going to be writing our own client here, but for now just leave that. So um, okay, yes, this is exactly what I want. So local spot 8000, that is, it shows that our installation is working fine. So I tried to, what I did initially was I tried to access the admin panel, but because we've not made any migrations. If you come here, you can see we have not made any migrations, so there's no checking the admin page. But for now, the port 8000 is going to be working fine. The default page is going to be working fine. So let us start working on the application itself, the app proper. So come here and let me increase settings. Let me increase my font size to 22 to make it easier. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is to go to my settings.py in my backend. Come to settings.py, then if you come under installed applications, I want to add all the applications that I'm going to be needing in this project. The first one I'm going to be adding is framework, REST framework. Then after that, I'm going to be adding JSON. Then after that, I'm going to be adding REST framework simple JWT. Then I'm going to be adding REST framework simple JWT together with dot token black token underscore black lists. Okay, so then after this, I'm going to be adding the auth token as well. So REST framework dot auth token. Auth token. I'm trying to check my notes to make sure that I'm not omitting anything, because one of those things that can demoralize you as a developer is spelling errors, like stupid spelling errors. So REST framework dot auth token. Then the last one is going to be accounts. It's going to be accounts. So the next thing we have to do now is to create a new user model. Now, the user model that comes with Django by default, the user model is, for our use case now, it's going to be basic. It's going to be basic. So we have to create a new user model. We create a new user manager for it as well. And we are going to be creating a serializer. So let us get into it. Creating the user model is going to be under accounts. So if you come to models.py, this is where we are going to be creating our new user model. So um, under models, I'm going to be importing from django.contrib.auth.models. I'm going to be importing abstract base user, and I'm going to be importing base user manager. Okay, so let us write the user manager first. Let us write the new user manager. So class, this user manager is what is responsible for what happens when you want to create a new user. Okay, so and it's going to be inheriting from the base user manager, so all the defaults comes with it. then you are going to be customizing two particular methods under the user manager. You are going to be modifying the create user and the create super user. Okay, so let us start with the user manager. So for this user manager now, I'm going to be inheriting from the base user manager, then def create user. Now when you want to create user, I want to take an instance of the current, then email, then I can say password equal to none. Then I'm going to be having the extra fields, the extra fields. Okay, so for this one, the email is compulsory. So not if not email, then I want you to raise a value error. So this value error, the email field must be set. Okay, so now, but if the email exists such that it is not raising a value error, then I want to normalize the email. So I can do something like email equal to normalize equal to self dot normalize email. Okay, so now the new user is going to be equal to self dot model, then email equal to email, then the extra fields, so don't forget extra fields. So that is it. Then after that, you set the password. If you don't set the password, the user will not be able to log in. So user um, dot set underscore password, user dot set password. Please, this is very important. If you don't set the password, user will not be able to log in. Then user dot save using equal to self dot underscore db, then return the user. That is it. So if I want to create a new user, this function is what is responsible for it. The function is going to be taking self, it's going to be taking email. This self is a representation of it, the current instance. So we have email, we have password, then we have every other field. If the email is not set, raise a value error. But if the email is set, you normalize the email, you create the user, you set the password of the user, then you save the user. Okay. But before we leave um, this particular class, we need to also create the super user to define a function that will handle the create super user. So def create super user. So to create the super user, all we want is still the same thing as this. So to create the super user, we can do something like extra field dot set default, and the default that we want to set is underscore staff. I want to set it to true. Okay, then another one we want to set is super user. We want to set it to true. Copy is super user. Yes, set it to true. Then just to do a check, if extra fields dot get, if you try to get is staff, you have to put in the key is underscore staff. If it is not equal to true, then we have to raise another value error. So this value error, then we must say super user must have is staff equal to true. Okay, then the second one, copy. So if is super user, control D, is super user. Okay, if it is not true, then you raise another value error. But if all these ones, if they return to be true, then you go ahead to create the user. But we are going to be calling this function over here to create it. So how do we do that? We can just say return self dot create create user. So to create the user now, we are going to be supplying the email, the password. Then after supplying the email and the password, we are going to be supplying the extra fields, and that is it. So we are done with the user manager. For the user manager, we wrote two functions: the create user and the create super user. So for this create super user, all we are doing is that we are augmenting this basically. So we check if the extra fields have a staff to be true. We are setting its extra fields. We are setting the default to true. We are also setting the super user to true. So if extra fields, if this is not true, you raise a value error. If this is not true, you raise a value error. But if all of them return to be true, just go ahead to use this function to create the super user, since it is going to be creating a user, a regular Django user, but this time it is creating it with its staff equal to true and its super user equal to true. I believe you understand that. So let us go ahead to create the user model. Let's go to create the user model. So for us to create the user model, just class, I can say user. This user is going to be inheriting from the abstract base user. So I'm going to be doing something like email equal to models dot email field. So this email field now, it is going to be unique. Then the maximum length is going to be 255. Going to be 255. Then after this one, the username is going to be a character field. So username is going to be equal to models dot character field. So this character field, the maximum length is going to be 255 again. Actually, let's do 50. Come on, it shouldn't be that long. Let's do 50. So I'm trying to check my notes, and it is also unique. Unique equal to true. Okay. So that is for username. We have for first name and last name. So first name copy. So this is going to be first name, and this is going to be last name. First name and last name. Now pay attention to this one. If you look at what we have here, I have a staff and a super user. These particular fields, I need to register them under, I need to make room for them under the user model. I need to make room for them under the user model. So is underscore active, is active is going to be equal to models dot boolean field. So this boolean field now, the default is going to be true. Let's just say default. It's going to be equal to true. Then we have a staff and a super user. Copy is staff and is super user. Is staff and is super user. So this is going to be false, and this is also going to be false. So it's active. Any account that is not active will not be able to log in. If the account is not active, you will not be able to log in. And for this system that we are trying to build now, when a user creates the account for the first time, the user will not be able to log in because their account is not active. They have to verify their email. They have to do email verification before they will be able to, before the account will be active, before they will be able to log in basically. And all of them, don't worry, I'll show you how to set all of them up. It's pretty easy. So I think we are done with this. Now let's set the user name field. So for me, I would like to use the email as the username field. Then the required fields, I would like to set the required fields. I'm going to be giving it a list. I'll just say username first name and last name, and that is it. Username, first name, and last name. By default, this email is going to be compulsory as well. So um, I have to now attach this user manager that I created over here. I have to attach it to this particular user. How can I do that? Just come here and say objects equal to the user manager that I created upstairs. So, and that is it. Then def, let me just write some helper functions. Full name self. Then this one is going to be getting the full name. So just return a formatted string, just self dot first name. Then you put a space. Then self dot last name. Okay. So after that, yes, I have to add this other one. Def has permissions, but it's just perm. So this perm will be taking self. It is going to be taking the permission, and it's also going to be taking objects equal to none. If you are trying to access any objects, this is the function that is going to verify if you have permission to access it. So that is it basically. Then just return true. Okay. Then has module permissions. Def has underscore module permissions. I think it is has module perms. Yes, I'm trying to check my notes. So because I hate spelling errors. App underscore label and return true. Then after doing that, let me just create a string representation of, so underscore underscore str underscore underscore self. Then just return, let me use another formatted string. I'm going to be using first name and email. So self dot first name, then let me put a pipe, then self dot email, and that is it. So my user model is completed. Then I have to register this user model that I created as the auth user model, the primary authentication user model. I have to register it. So this particular user, I will come to the main project settings.py. Let me put everything under here. So this is going to be auth user model. Auth user model. This is going to be accounts dot user, and that is it. So now let me migrate the data so we can see what it looks like. Let me migrate it, but let me put account admin.py from dot models import. I want to import user so that I can admin dot site dot register user, so I can have it. So the next thing I want to do is to actually migrate the data. So come here and come here, and I don't know why the program is shouting. Okay, I just have to migrate. Yes. So Python manage.py make migrations. Okay, so now migrate. Okay, so you can see all these tables that I created for us. Then after that, I'm going to be creating a super user so that I'll be able to log into the admin dashboard. So Python manager.py create super user. Then the super user, the email admin at admin.com, username admin, first name admin, last name admin. Yes, yes. Okay, so everything have been created now. I can go back to run my server, so I can come back here. I wasn't able to visit the admin URL before, so now I can visit it. Come here. Okay, you can see the admin URL is working fine. So this time it is asking me for email and not username and password. And the reason is because if you come here, I set the under accounts models.py, I set the username field to what? I set it to email. Okay, so that is the reason why it is demanding email particularly from me, not the regular username and password you used to ask for. So admin and at admin.com and my password. So login. Okay, so you can see all these other models that we have, the blacklisted tokens, outstanding tokens, and all those, the groups, the tokens. They are all coming from settings.py. They are coming from this place. They are coming from all these other ones. They are coming from here. Okay, but just leave all those ones out for now. So come back here. If you come under users, you can see that I have admin, then a pipe, then the email. If you remember the string representation of the model, this is the string representation of the model. If you remember, the first name, then the email. If I come here and I open it, you see what I have. This is the hashed password. You can see the last login, the date and the time. So you can see it's active, it's staff, it's super user. This is because if you remember our user manager, his staff is going to be true. His super user is going to be true. And because I'm creating super user, by default, it is going to be active. Okay. But the endpoint that we're going to be creating to create users, like regular users, this is not going to be active. They have to verify their email address before their account is going to be active. So let's go ahead to start working on all those. So before we go ahead, let me show you what the database will look like. Let me show you what the database will look like. If you come to your VS Code marketplace, come to look for SQLite viewer, because by default we are having SQLite, so we can just use this to view our database inside VS Code. So if I open this, for example, you see all the tables that we have. These are all the tables we have. These are all the tables that we have. So if you come under account user, this account user is what is responsible for our models. These models: email, username, first name, last name, and everything. So if I should come here and you can see I'm having password, the last login, the email, the username, the first name, the last name is active, is super user, is staff. You can see everything is one. Okay. So let me give you a distinction between a staff and a super user. The staff will be able to log into this particular dashboard. Okay, this dashboard, but you will have to give your staff some kind of permission. You'll be able to assign some kind of permission to them. The staff, you might say for this particular model you will be able to delete, for these other ones you will not be able to delete, and all those. Okay, so that is who a staff is. But the super user has unlimited access to the backend. So if you are giving somebody access to your backend, you should know exactly what you are doing. So let us go to start. Let us create the serializer. Let's create the serializer that will be responsible for creating a regular user, somebody that is coming to register on our website, on our platform, or the mobile app, depending on where they will be consuming your API from. So come here. Let us do serializers.py. So this serializers.py, I can just say from Djoser.serializers import user creates serializers. This is it. User creates serializer. So this user creates serializer from Django.contrib.auth. I want to import get user model. So this user model, I'm going to be saying the user equal to get user model. So it will just get the user model for me from any part of the application. Then class user creates, let me see, user creates serializer. This user creates serializer that I want to create now is going to be inheriting from user creates serializer. So, or let me do this from Djoser import serializers. So I can just say copy. This is going to be serializer dot. So I can graciously take this one out. So to make it, to avoid confusion, so the class meta. So this class meta is going to be inheriting from serializers dot user create serializer dot meta, and that is it. But I'm going to be supplying model equal to the user that I just got from here. Then I'm going to be supplying the fields as well. So for these fields equal to, let me use a tuple. So for this one I'm going to be giving it the ID, then I'm going to be giving it email, then username, then first name, last name, and password. No, first name, last name, and password. Yes. So I have ID, email, username, first name, last name, and the password. So after doing this one now, let us go and set up Djoser. Let us go and set up Djoser. You come to settings.py, and we have a lot of settings to do right now. So just brace up. Oh, what is it? So just brace up. So I wrote everything down somewhere here. All the um, all the settings that we are going to be working on. So the first settings that we are going to be making is the email configuration. Okay, the email configuration. So I'm going to be using MailHog. I'm going to be using MailHog. So MailHog is a tool for is an email testing tool for developers basically. It's an email testing tool for developers. If you come to Google, you can install for different platforms. I'm on Linux, so how to install MailHog for Windows. So just come to look for it. Yes, so these are the, if I want to start my email server, for example, all I have to do is just to come here and mail hog, and it will create it for me. It will create it for me. So I just have to come here and open it. So this is my mail hog. This is where I'm going to be getting all my emails. This is where I'm going to be getting all my emails. So just let me close this too. But on the other hand, for this particular part, the alternative will be if you cannot get Mailhog or any other software with which you can develop locally. For example, I'm having internet issues and I want to develop. This Mailhog gives me leverage such that I can just all the emails I have to receive, I'll receive it on my laptop and all that. The other option is for you to use Outlook. Okay, you can use Outlook, you can use Yahoo Mail, you can use Gmail. Anything that can give you an SMTP server is usable. All right, it's usable. So just come here and if you are using an SMTP server, for example, if you are using Outlook, if you are using Outlook, your email host is going to be SMTP. Let me write it there. SMTP dot office 365.com. Okay, if you are using the email, if you are using Outlook as the source of your SMTP, in my own case now, I'm using Mailhog. I have Mailhog installed on my device, so I can just use it directly. So that is for the email host. Then the port you are going to be using is going to be 587. Your port is going to be 587. If you are using Outlook, for example, and the reason why I'm using Outlook for this tutorial to give you an alternative to Mailhog is because it is relatively the simplest to create. Your email host user is going to be your email address, okay, your Outlook email address. Then your password, your account password, your Outlook email password. Your Outlook email password is going to be the password that you put over here now. So, and are you going to be using TLS? Please, the answer is going to be true. You are going to be setting this one as true, okay? So, like I said, I'm going to be using Mailhog. All the emails I'm going to be sending for this particular application, I'll be getting everything here, all right? So, let us proceed. Let us proceed. On your own end, if you don't have access to Mailhog, just go to Outlook, create an account, and set all of them as appropriate. Don't forget, you are setting this one as true. You are setting this one as true. Let us set up the remaining ones. So for this one, for REST framework, just don't worry. That file is going to be available. The file is going to be available. Just check the link in the description below. So you set all these ones as the default permission is that you have to be authenticated. It's authenticated for all the protected routes. It's authenticated is what we are using. The default authentication classes is JWT authentication. Okay, JWT authentication. um, we are going to be using JWT authentication because I believe it's a very secured one. It's a very secured one. So, and it is very very beginner friendly. Then after this, we are going to be setting, we are going to be giving our simple JWT some settings. Come here, let us paste this one as well. So auth header types is bearer. Some people like to use JWT, but I think it's not super cool. So I'd rather use bearer over here. So access token lifetime and refresh token lifetime. Many people don't know what this thing is. So let me use the opportunity to explain now, even though I'll still explain later. So access token basically is what you use to request access for resources. Okay, but you can see that what I set over here, time delta from date time import time delta from date time import time delta. So if I should come back down, so okay, time delta is now here. So for as soon as the user logs in for 60 minutes, the user will be able to use that particular when you log in, you get an access and refresh token. You get one access token and one refresh token. The access token is going to be usable for a period of 60 minutes, and the refresh token is going to be usable for a period of 1 day. Now the access token, you are going to be using it to request for resources for a period of 60 minutes. After 60 minutes it expires. So normally what you will do is that the user will have to go and log in again to get another access token. But instead of having the user to always log in, you can use this refresh token to get another access token for the user without having to tell them to log in. Without having to tell them to log in, just use you will look for you will use a metric to calculate when this access token becomes expired. Then you request for another access token for them automatically without them even knowing. Okay, so I'll show you how you can request for a refresh token, and you can see the auth token classes. So you can just set all these ones. Then after simple JWT, now here comes the big boss in the house. So JOSA itself. JOSA itself. So if I paste this, you can see the login field is email. User creates password retype. That is when they are creating their password, they have to type the password again. Like you have to type your password twice. That is it. User change email confirmation. Anytime you want to change your email, you want to set your email, you have to confirm the old email. So password change email confirm when you want to change your username and when you want to change your password, you have to confirm your email. That is what these two. That is what they are doing. Send confirmation email. I think this is when you want to create an account. Then we have okay confirmation email. I can't remember what this is, but if you go to the JOSA documentation, they explain all these things. They explain all of them like in depth there, so you can just check the documentation out. So we have the username reset confirm URL. So this particular URL is what will be sent to the user. Now, in this tutorial, we are going to be focusing only on the backend, only on the backend. So normally, the email that is going to be sent to the user, you will see a demonstration. I think I should leave this one for now. When we create when we want to reset the username, I'll make reference to this again. So the same thing goes for the password reset. The activation email is when a user creates an account. I tell you that the account is not active immediately. They have to verify their email before the account can be active. So user create password retype. I think this is when you want to create your account. So you have to type your password two times. Then we have the activation URL. This is the activation URL over here. This is the activation URL. This is the URL that is going to be, I think, that is going to be sent to the client. I think yes, that's going to be sent to the user. Then the password reset show email not found is true. So if you are trying to reset your password and the email is not found, it is going to raise it over here. Then we have the user create. Now this user create that we have over here, if you come to serializers, this user create serializer that I have over here is what I'm pointing Django to, such that if you want to create, I'm pointing Djoser to. When you want to create a new user, use this particular serializer that I created. Okay, use this serializer. So for all these other ones, I think they are the default. So it's as good as not putting it. Then the final settings, the final settings that we are going to be having is the domain and the site name. So basically, these are for your front end clients. So if, for example, you are developing locally, maybe for React, for example, I think the front end client is going to be port 3000. It's going to be port 3000. So this port 3000 now, if you put it over here, then the site name, it can be maybe, let's say, HID tutorials web. Okay, so let me just leave this like this, so you will see how everything come into play. Now before we move further, normally we can go and start creating the URLs now, but before we move further, let us create a protected route such that when the user log in, we will be able to use that route to test, to know if the authentication system, if it works. So let us create a view. Yes, if you come under views.py, I want to create a protected route. Don't forget, I'm in the account.view. So to create the protected route now, I'm going to say from REST framework dot response import response. So after importing response, the next thing to import, I want to import two decorators. So from REST framework dot decorators import API view and permission classes. Okay, I'll see it. Then the third one, I want to import permissions. So from REST framework dot permissions import is authenticated. Then from um, I don't have to create this serializer. I don't have to bring in the serializer because I don't need it here. I don't need it. So let me just leave that one out. So okay, I'm trying to check my notes to be sure that I'm not omitting anything. So let us start creating the API view now. So def index is going to be taking requests. So I'm just going to say data equal to, I can say message. Then I will now say let me bring in a formatted string. Then I'll say hello. Then I'll print the name of the person, or let me say the first name. So request dot user dot first name. Okay, request the user dot first name. Then I'll say welcome to your user area. Okay, let me just use this. Then I'll return response, and the response I want to return is data, and that is all. But this is not a protected view yet. To make it a protected view, I think the first thing I want to do is to make it an API view. So at API view, then the methods. Let me just give it the get method. Then I will add the permission classes now. So at permission classes, this is going to be is authenticated. No, it's going to be a list is authenticated. Okay, so now the next thing I want to do is to assign a URL to this particular view. So I have to create urls.py urls.py. So in this urls.py, from dot views import index. Then after importing index, from Django.urls import path. So for this path now, I'm going to be bringing in URL patterns. URL patterns. So for this URL patterns, this is going to be having just one element, which is path, and the path is going to be protected route, then index, and that will be all for this one. So I have to look for a way to bring this particular URL into the main project URL. Where's the main project URL? This is the main project URL. So for this main project URL, we are going to be adding a couple of URLs. I'm going to be adding this particular URL and every other URL that we are going to be using basically. So to add all the URLs, path and include. So come here, I'll do something like path. I will now say maybe API slash, let me say version 1. So just to API slash version 1. Then I want to include, let me include account.urls .urls, which is basically this URL file over here. Then apart from this one, I'm going to be including both the I'm going to be including the JOSA and the JOSA JWT URLs. So copy and paste. and paste. So Josa, this will be Josa the URLs, then Josa the URLs dot JWT, and that is it. And that is it. So if I should save this, I think everything is now set. If you ask me, I think everything is set. Hopefully, I've not made any typo errors. Hopefully, hopefully. So I think we can start testing out the API. Now that all the fields have been created, let us start to test the API. So I hope my server is running. So this is my email server. Don't forget, this is my email server. Then this is my development server. Hopefully everything is working fine. I'm sure of that. So I will come to this place, come to users, everything is intact. That's one, I'm sure of it. Then I'll come to my client over here. This is where I'm going to be writing. This is the client I'm going to be using. Normally, when you get to a website, the first thing you want to do is to create a new account, okay? And that will be creating a new user basically. That will be creating a new user basically. And one thing that since the internet isn't giving me the opportunity to show you the links, there is one trick that we can play on it. Slash API slash version 1. So it is telling me that authentication credentials are not provided. Um, okay. Slash version 1. I'm trying to. There is a way it gives all the dots. Just, okay, very good, very good. So these are all the endpoints available for JOSA. These are all the endpoints available for JOSA. So you can see the protected route. These are all the endpoints available for our application at the moment. Okay, so you can see the protected route API slash version 1 slash protected route. If you come here, you come to where is it? urls.py, urls.py. Yes. So for this one, so the protected route, that first route is coming from here. Then if you come back here, you see slash users. Okay, if you want to create a new user, you post to this particular link. Then if you want to activate a user, if you want to get your user profile, if you want to resend the activation, if you want to reset password, if you want to confirm the password reset, and if you want to reset your email, you want to confirm the email reset, you want to set the password, set the email, and so many other links. When you want to log in, you want to create a new JWT token. This is the link that will be used to create it. If you want to if the JWT token have expired and you want to refresh the token, this is the link with which you will refresh it. And if you want to verify to know if a token is valid, this is the endpoint you are going to be using to check if a token is valid. Okay, so let us just get into this place. Let us start testing the API. So like I said, I'm not going to be using Postman. This is what I use for majority of my tutorials. Come here, let me copy the client. This is the client over here. So this is what I'll use. So copy, don't worry, these files are going to be made available. Just check the link in the description below. It should be in the GitHub repo. It should be on the GitHub repo of this particular of this particular video. Just check in the description. You will see the link to the GitHub. So I can run this one first. No offenses yet, so it's not going to shout. So for me to create a new user, I come here. I think I have the code over here. So just copy this one, then paste it. So you can see what I'm having. Import JSON from pretty print, import pretty print. I want to use this I want to make it as per just printing, because you're going to be getting dictionaries. So with pretty print, it looks nicer when you print it. So import JSON. Then this is the endpoint. If you remember vividly, you can see API version 1 then users. Okay, API version 1 then users. So come here, API version 1 then users. I'm going to be posting, don't forget the method will be post. If you look at what is happening over here, I've used this very well in my tutorials, so I believe um, a lot of you is going to know what is happening here. But for you watching for the first time, basically I'm using this function to launch my HTTP request. So response equal to request dot request, then I'll pass in the method. By default is going to be get. I'm going to be passing in the URL, this URL. I'll be passing in the URL. Then after passing the URL, the parameters, if any, the data, if any, the headers as well is if any. I'm not going to always have to pass in all of them. Sometimes I have to pass in a good number of them. So just follow along. So now for me to create a new user, HTTP and all these other ones. So the data that I'm going to be needing, I have to supply the first name, the last name, the email, the username, and I also have to supply the password. And I have to type the password again. So if, for example, I want to create a new user, Alexander, then the last name is maybe Samuel, then the email. Don't forget, we are posting to this particular endpoint. We are posting to this endpoint. So then the email, I can say Alexander Samuel at maybe gmail.com. Then the username, let me use copy Alexander Samuel. The password, I can just say password, then copy. Okay, password. So if I should run this, hopefully, if everything is working fine, then it should create the user for us and return the user. Okay, so run this. You can see it is giving us a status code of 201. It is giving us a status code of 201, and you can see the endpoint we queried. All this output is coming from here. It's coming from here. So just follow along. All this output is coming from there. You can see the request. It's a post request to this particular endpoint. Then you can see the status code of 201, and you can see the headers. Okay, the allowed endpoint, we have the get and the post. We have the get and the post. If you want to get user profile, it is the same endpoint that you will use, but it has to be an authenticated request, I think. So you can see the email, you can see the first name, you can see the ID. This ID is auto generated. So you can see the last name. The reason why the ID is 2 is because I'm the user, I'm the super admin, and my ID is 1 already. So it will just go to the next ID. The last name is Samuel, and you can see that the username is Alexander Samuel, which is exactly what is happening over here. Alexander Samuel. If you want to check this user in our database, come here, come under users. You see that now I have another user, and you can see the name of the user is Alexander. If I should open it, you can see the password hash, the Alexander Samuel, Alexander then Samuel. You can see it is not, the person is not active, the person is not a staff, and the person is not a super user. If I want to convert Alexander Samuel to a super user, I can just convert him from here. Okay, but now Alexander has to verify his email. So if you were using Outlook, if you come to settings.py and the settings you are using over here is for Outlook, then this email address that you are using, no, this is the email, this email address that you are using over here must be a real email address, because Outlook is going to push an activation email to the person's email address. If you don't find it in if you don't find it in inbox, check your spam. So let me come back to my mail hog. You see the mail hog over here. You can see account activation on HID tutorials web. If you come to domain, if you come here, you can see the site name, HID tutorials web. Now let us open it. Let us open it. Open. You can see the email over here. You are receiving this email because you need to finish activation process on HID tutorials web. If you check the JSON documentation, you will be able to see how to customize this particular template that you have over here. You will see how you can customize it. And you need to take note of something. You can see that it is giving me localhost port 3000. If you come to check this other one, you can see that my localhost is port 8000, where I'm viewing this from. You can see this is port 8000, but because under domain, this is what I set it as, port 3000. That is why it is giving me port 3000. Normally that domain is going to be the link of your front end application where the user can go and register and do all that. So you can see auth slash activate. If you come here, you can see the activation URL, auth slash activate slash the UID. Then this is a get parameter, then this is another get parameter. Okay, the UID and the token. So if you come here, you can see the UID and you can also see the token. Okay, but you can see that this localhost port 3000, it is not in existence. So normally when you click on it, it should take you to your front end. Then from there you look for, you use your JavaScript or whatsoever to extract the get parameters and send it to the backend, to an endpoint in the backend. Okay, now the endpoint in the backend that you're going to be using to activate the user, if you come here, let me quickly show you. It should be user activation, user slash, exactly, this is it, activation. Okay, user slash activation. So how can we activate this new user that we created? Now how can we activate this user? So copy, then paste. I don't need the whole of this, and the endpoint is going to be slash activation, slash activation, then cut the whole of this. So what I'm going to be needing is the UID, and I'm also going to be needing the token. I'm going to be needing the token, and the token is going to be a string. So how can I extract it from here? Just copy the whole of this. This is what I need. Copy, then come here. Let me make this a comment. So the UID is MG. Copy. This is the UID. Then this is the token. Copy. Then paste it. So, and this is user slash activation. And if you even check our backend server, um, um, okay, you can see the post. This is where we created the user. This is where we created the user. This is the endpoint when we created the user. All these other ones are for the admin dashboard. Every time you refresh a page in the admin dashboard, but let's leave all that for now. So you can see that this user has been created, but we have to activate the user. So just run this, and you can see it is giving me status code of 204, no content. It shows that this user is now active. Like this user can actually request for can log in, try to get the JWT token, and they'll be able to use that token to request for resources. So let me take this one out. This Jupyter file is also going to be available, so all the resource you need is going to be there. So you can see now after doing all this, if you come to the backend server, you can see the post user activation, and you can see that it's successful. Okay, now let us use this particular user to log in. This user that we have, let us use this user to log in. Don't forget the user email, which is the login field, is this, and this is the password over here. So come here, and I can copy the whole of this. So for me to log in, all I need, the data, all I need is the email and password, and I have to access the JWT link. This one, this JWT slash create, JWT slash create. So this JWT slash create is coming from this one, URLs. This one is coming from here. Okay. So JWT slash create. I'm going to be needing the email and the password, and don't forget this is the email over here. I think there should be one more email that will be sent. Um, okay, you can see your account has been successfully created and activated. You can see just because we activated that user. If you check what we did over here, after activating the user, yeah, after activating the user, this user is active now. So come here, this is the email and this is the password. So paste it. So this is user login. Okay, so if I should run this, you can see that the response is giving me 200. It's giving me the access token and it's also giving me the refresh token. This is the token I'm going to be using to make all my authenticated requests. Then the refresh token is whenever the access token expires, I will use the refresh token to request for another access token. All right. So when the refresh token expires, then I have to make another I have to log in afresh. So moving on, let me use this particular token to view my profile, as in that of Alexander Samuel. So I want to use it to view the profile. So copy and paste this one. So actually, I don't need to pass in any data. I don't need to pass in any data, and this is going to be a get request. This is going to be a get request for me to view my profile, and this is going to be users slash me. But I have to do something first. I have to get my access token. So access token equal to, this is my access token over here. Copy, then go back. Okay, that's my access token. So the reason why I'm using this character over here to break it to the next line is because I want everything to, I don't like it overflowing my screen. So this is my access token. Now let me set the headers. I can say headers. Anytime you want to make an authenticated request equal to, you have to set the headers. So you can say authorization, authorization, then let me use formatted string, then I'll say this is going to be bearer, I'll put a space, then access token. Now this bearer, where is it coming from? It is coming from settings, bearer. Yes, it's coming from settings bearer. So now I have bearer, I have my access token. So I'm not passing in any data. I just have to say headers equal to headers. Don't forget the headers. This is where it is coming from. This headers over here. So I'll pass the header into my request, and this is what guarantees that I'm logged in. Okay, this is what guarantees that I'm logged in. So if for example I say access token equal to an empty string, okay, such that I've created an override for my access token, so it is an empty string that is going to be seen. If I should try to make a request now, you can see bad authorization header, and the authorization header must contain two space delimited values. If I should supply an access token that has expired, it will tell me here that the access token have expired. And if you check this place, you can see it's telling me unauthorized. But if I should take this one out, meaning that I have the correct access token and I run it, you see that it is giving me 200. It is giving me 200 and it's actually giving me user data. This is the profile data. This is the profile of the user. Okay, this is the actual profile of the user. So let me actually do something over here. This is creating a new user, so that um, creating a new user. So for this one, this is going to be markdown. So when you are using it, so this one will be activating user activation. So markdown also user activation. Then this is going to be user login. user user login getting JWT tokens. Then this is going to also be markdown. So then for this last one is going to be making authenticated requests. So making authenticated requests. Then this is going to be markdown as well. Making authenticated requests, then okay. So after that, okay, this one should be viewing profile. So copy. Then the next one is also going to be making authenticated requests, but this one is going to be viewing protected routes. Okay, protected routes. So the protected route that we want to view is this one that we created. Uh, Views, yes, this particular route over here. You can see that the permission classes is saying that you have to be authenticated to view, to have access to this particular view, and you can see that it is only get that we have. So come here and making authenticated, this is going to be markdown, and I'm going to do this. So to view that protected route, let me just copy the whole of this and paste it there. Then now to view that protected route, if you come here, you can see this first one is just version 1, then protected route. Come here, version 1, then protected routes. So exactly. So version 1, protected route, delete this one. Okay, I think everything is fine. I have my headers, the bearer token, everything is fine. Take this one out. So run this. You can see, hello Alexander, welcome to your user area. If you come to the dashboard, you see that I'm getting request.user.firstname, and you can see that the user's first name, where is the user? The first name is what? Alexander. Okay. If it were the first name, the last name, and the email, everything, I can do it from here. I can do it from here. So I really want you to understand everything as it is going in depth. That's the reason why I'm taking my time to explain all the concepts. So making authenticated request, viewing protected route. So now, what if we want to edit user profile? If I want to edit user profile, there are two endpoints for you to edit user profile using this, or the setup that we have now. The first endpoint is going to be editing. If you come under models, it's going to be editing these required fields. Okay, so you'll be able to edit the username, the first name, and the last name in this particular endpoint. For you to reset your email, for you to change your email, there is another endpoint for that one. So let's work on this one first. So for you to edit your profile, your profile for you to edit your profile, if you remember this particular endpoint where we viewed profile, where we viewed profile exactly. So for this one, you see slash me. If you take a good look at the allowed endpoints, you can see the patch, delete, and the get. The get is what we are using here to get it. If you want to edit all the fields, all the required fields at once, such that you always have to supply the required fields, then you use put. But if it is just one or two that you want to edit at once, you use patch. If you want to delete, then you use the delete method. Okay. So let us edit our profile. So edit profile. This will be required fields. So this is going to be markdown and run this, paste it. So to edit the profile, don't forget you have to set your headers. Then after setting your headers, you also have to set the data. So I can just say data equal to, I'm feeling lazy, so let me just copy it. um, so this is going to be data. Then I cannot edit email here, and I cannot edit password as well. The only thing I can edit with this particular endpoint is the first name, the last name, and the username. So for this first name now, let me change the first name to Michael, and let me change the second name to maybe Barnabas. I hope this spelling is correct. Then the username, let me say Mike B. Okay. So the method is going to be equal to put. If you want to use patch is for editing maybe just a field at once. If you want to use patch, if you want to edit maybe one or two fields, but put, you have to supply all of them. If you don't, it is not compulsory for you to change them. You can just leave some fields the way it is, but let's just change everything. So method is put, headers, then data equal to data. So I think we are free to run the code now. So you can see that the email remains unchanged. The email remains unchanged. But the first name is now Michael, the last name is Barnabas, and this one is Mike B. You can see, and this one is Mike B. Like I said, you can decide to leave all these other ones as the initial value. It makes no difference. You can decide to leave them as their initial value, but and you can decide to use patch. No problem at all. So that is to edit user profile. Then to delete user profile, it is very simple. So you can just come to this delete over here. Just change this one to delete and you are good to go. So copy, then for us to check that this is actually working, um, viewing user profile, you can see the profile that the user, this profile initially. Let us try to view the profile again. You see what the profile is now. The profile has changed, so that is working very fine. So the next thing we want to do is to delete user. So come here and no, let me add one first. Delete user, then markdown. So for me to delete user, don't forget I have my access token. I don't need the data. Then I don't need this one as well. Just the headers, the method of delete. If I don't supply any method, don't forget that this is going to be the get method. If you come to this place, you can see by default the method is get. So, and that is all. If I come here to users, you see that I have Michael and I have Alexander Samuel at gmail.com. If I should come here to run this, okay, it's telling me current password. I have to type in my current password. So I think I have to supply data equal to, so current password, current password, current password. Where is the password? I think this is the password over here. So current password, paste, yes. Then run it. Yes, I didn't supply the data, so data equal to data, and that is it. I think that should be it. So run this. You see, it's giving me 204, no content, meaning that it worked. Meaning that it worked. So if I come here, you can see the delete worked fine. This is the initial bad request that I made. Come here. If I try to reload, you can see that Michael is no longer there. The only user available is just the admin user. You can see just the admin user. So that is it basically. But let me create that user again. Let me create the user again. So if I come under um, creating a new user, let me use another person. Let me say Gloria Gilbert. So Glogil, then Glogil, then let me just use all these ones. Okay, so if I run this, it's giving me 400. Okay, the password is too similar to the email. Let me just use password pass. What am I doing? So password password. So copy and paste. So if I should run this, you see I'm getting 201, meaning that the user have been created. Now I have to verify email. So for me to verify email, I'll open my email. So account activation on HID tutorials, you can see a few seconds ago. Open this, the account activation. Let me just copy this. Then come here to the place where you have account activation. The UID is MW, then the token is this. So if I should run this, you see it's telling me 204, meaning that the user have been activated. If I should come here and I run this, you can see this is Gloria. If I open it, you can see Gloria, and Gloria is now active. So and I think if I should come here, I have one more email. You can see your account have been successfully created and activated. So now that I have another account, let us demonstrate how to change email and change password. Okay, if you want to change or reset your email, change your email and your password. So um now for you to reset your email, for you to reset your email, um let me quickly do something here. For you to reset your email, I think you let me just copy this one. So reset email, and this is going to be a markdown. For you to reset your email, so users, I think the endpoint is reset email. Let us check. The endpoint is reset email. Yes, so this will be user slash reset email. So user slash reset email. Okay, so this access token is going to be invalid. This access token is going to be invalid. So let us go and generate another access token. So user login, this is my email. I think the password is password copy. I think it's the same thing. Yes, it's the same thing. So now I have a valid access token. We should be able to try it out. This invalid access token, if I should try to use it to make a request. So I think the endpoint, we are going to be making a post request, and we are going to be supplying, we don't need headers actually. We don't need headers. The only thing we need is the data, because you might want to reset your email such that you forgot your email or something. So just post the data there. The data is going to be email, and don't forget this is the email that we are using now. So we want to change that email. So this is the email. We don't need the access token actually for what we want to do now. We don't need the access token. We only need the URL and the data. Okay. We only need the URL and the data. And you can see this is the URL over here. So I don't know. So and the method is post data equal to data. So if I should run this, you see it's giving me 204, and you can see we are submitting to reset email. So it will send an email to mail log. You can see it is saying username reset on HID tutorials over here, but actually it is the email that we want to reset. So you can see it is bringing the email as the username over here. So copy, then now for the activation, I think it is reset email confirm. Reset email confirm. So this reset email confirm, let me copy this and paste. So this will be to confirm the email. Confirm reset email, that is it. So the URL reset email underscore confirm. Then for the data that I have to supply, I'm going to have to supply the new email. The new email. And the new email that I want to supply might be, let me say, the new email I want to supply might be HID tutorials 247 at gmail.com. Then apart from this one, I have to supply the UID and the token, the UID and the token that is in my copy, the UID and the token to the UID. Where is the UID? This is it. Copy and paste it. Then the token, for the token, this is the token. The documentation has all these things listed out, but unfortunately for me, unfortunately rather, not for me, the internet is being funny, so I can't show you. So data equal to the new email, the UID and the token. So um, I think this is everything we need. So run this. If we should run this, I think we are supposed to get an email. Yes, you can see. If I go back a few seconds ago, you see just now. So now this new email that we used, let us use this to log in. This new email, if I come to the login, the user login, so let me just copy the whole of this. If I try to use the new email to log in, then instead of having glow@gmail.com, if I should try to use this one, you can see no active account found with the given credentials. If you come here and you reload, you see it is no longer the old email. So the old email doesn't exist. So come here, this new email, paste it here and run. You see, now I have access and refresh token. So this shows that the email reset feature is working just fine. Okay, the email reset feature is working just fine. So you don't have to be logged in to change your email. All you have to do is just to verify the email and you supply the new email. So now to to set your password, to set your password, all you have to do For example, for this particular user now, for this particular user, don't forget password. For you to set your password, I think the endpoint is set password. If you come here, look for set password. Users, yes, set password. Set password. So this is going to be set password. So this is going to be a markdown. So to set the password now, um, let me copy this. So that'll be users slash set underscore password. So I'm going to be needing my access token, which is this one over here. So I think I did the header somewhere. So I need to bring my access token. So my access token is going to be a string, and this is the string over here. Yes. So now I can say headers equal to headers. So the endpoint is set password. I have my headers. It's going to be a post request, and the data, I'm going to be giving it the new password. I'm going to be typing the new password again. So RE new password. Then I'm going to be typing the current password. So I can just say another password. Another password, another password. So current password is this. So I think everything is set. And this is an instant action. This is an instant action. I don't think I have any. Okay, so this is an instant action. I don't think we have any verification to do here. If you just run this, it changes the password in place. So run this. It's telling me user not found. HID tutorials dot password. If I should log in, then copy the access token, and I run this. It's telling me user not found. I think I'm missing something somewhere. API version 1 users set underscore password. I have the okay, yes, I have the access token, but the bearer token, I didn't pass in the headers. Sorry, that is the reason it didn't work. So it should work now. So you can see the password I've changed. Now this one is someone is logged in already, and they feel the need to change their password. Okay, they feel the need to change their password. That is where this particular endpoint come into play. Okay, they need to change their password. They are logged in already. They can you just use their access token to change the password. But what if user is not logged in, and they feel the need to change their password? They forgot their password, so they have to retrieve the password. So that is where the reset password comes in. Okay, the reset password, they have to supply their email, Then using the email, they will get some sort of confirmation. They confirm the email, then they will be able to enter a new password. So come here to, okay, let's use this password to log in first. Where is that user login? Okay, copy. So copy, then paste it here. So this is the new password over here. Another password, copy. So if I run this, you see I'm getting access and refresh token, meaning that the new password is working just fine. Okay. So moving on, I have the, this one is set password. This second one is reset password. Reset password. So markdown and on it. So to reset the password, let me copy this one. So I don't need access token to reset password because I'm not logged in. So the authorization header, I don't need all these ones. So it is not an authenticated request. So for the data, um, I have to supply the email, and you can see that the email is this HID tutorials. This is the email over here. So this is the email, and this is going to be reset password. This is going to be reset password. Run this. So you see it's giving me 204, no content. So come here, you can see password reset on HID tutorials web. Run this. It's asking me to supply my UID and all these other things. So I simply have to copy the whole of this. Then this will be um, reset password confirm. Reset password confirm. That is what this is going to be. So the data that I have to supply is the new password twice. So new password, and I also have to retype my new password. So that is and don't forget that the password that we have over here is another password. Copy. So this one, let's say um, HID, no, let me say I no, password. I'm thinking of something. Cristiano Ronaldo. That is our goat. Copy. I think it is CR. So before we'll be able to post the data, we have to supply the UID and the token. So the UID. So what is the UID and the token? So come to this place, copy. Normally the UID and the token from your front end, you will extract it from the user when they visit this particular URL, then you send it to the backend. So the UID and the token, the UID is MW and the token is this. So if I should run this, you see it is giving me 204. So let us now log in with this new password. Let us log in with this new password. So copy, paste. To log in with this new password, copy and run it. So you can see that I'm getting my access and my refresh token now. So it is working fine. These are the basic functionalities that are under user authentication for most applications that require it. So you can see that at the beginning we've done creating a user activation, because when you create the user it's not active immediately. When you want to log in, when you want to make authenticated requests, viewing a protected route, then we have the edit profile, we have the delete user, we have reset email. Then I think that will be all. If you want to set the password as a logged in user, then to reset the password as a user that is logged out. Okay. So the final thing that I have to show you is the refresh token. Okay. The refresh token. So if you come to this page is over here now, you will see JWT refresh. Okay. So let me just copy that login endpoint. Where is it? Yes. Let me copy that login endpoint. I want to quickly show you something. It's only refresh that I need. So the refresh, no, and this is going to be refresh token. Anytime your access token expires, you come to refresh your token. So this is going to be a markdown. Then data equal to refresh, and this is what you have to copy. No, copy and paste this here. Okay, so take this one out. So it is going to be a post request URL data equal to data. Now, if I should try to run this, you see it is telling me code token not valid and detail token is invalid or expired. So for this particular endpoint, I think the issue is with the fact that I'm running the code from Jupyter Notebook. Perhaps if you are running the code from Postman, then it should be giving you the access token instead. So what happened is that I tried to as you can see I'm trying to run this from Postman. It isn't working. So I will run this from the command line, directly from the command line. I'm going to be using call to run this from the command line. On your own end, you can use Postman, or you can write just a basic JavaScript client that is going to call the API. So now for me to write it, I think let me just write it here first before taking it to the um to the command line. So call, let me, because I want to go to the next line. I can do something like x, maybe it will be a post request, then it will be a post request, then the content type in the header. So content type is going to be application slash JSON. Then the data is going to be, say, refresh. Basically it's going to be this, but I have to, just to be safe, or let me copy it. But for the refresh token, let me just copy everything the way it is. Copy, then paste it. So I don't need this, and I also don't need this. So okay, yes, everything is coming the way we want it. Then after that one, I have to supply the last thing, which is the URL. So for the URL, is this basically? Is this basically? So copy, then paste it here. And I think everything is good to go now. So copy this, come to the command line. Let me open another terminal. You can see this is the terminal where I'm running my code from. You can see the unauthorized refresh token. It is not allowing me to fetch my refresh token. So okay, let me come back here. So come here. Okay, this is my email. So the email server, Control Shift V. So run. Now you can see that immediately I try to run this, it fetched the access token for me, and this is exactly what I'm trying to do here. That is telling me rubbish basically. Code token not valid, detail token is invalid. I think this is a some sort of security or something. As at the time I'm recording this video, I have no idea why I can't get a refresh token from Jupiter. Perhaps it is because of security, some sort of security layer stuff. I can't really say, but you can see this access token now. The same thing I'm trying to do here. I did it here and it is working fine. So you can do yours too like this. If you have a bash command line interface, if you have a a Linux terminal, or what do they call it? So now let me try to use this access token to fetch resources. Let me use it to view profile. Let me also use it to check the protected route. So if I want to use it to view profile, yeah, viewing profile. So let me use this one to view profile. I hope I copied it right, because ending at W starting from EYJH. Okay, very good. So let me just, because I don't like it overflowing. Okay, so now let me try to, you can see what it's giving me initially, but if I should try to run this, you see now that I'm getting the new user. Okay, and let me use this same access token to try to view an authenticated route. So if I should run, initially I'm getting hello Alexander. Let me run this one. You see hello Gloria, because obviously Gloria is the first name. And if you remember the authenticated route under views, request user first name. Okay, so that is it. That is it. Well, it has been a very long tutorial. Thank you very much for staying till the end. Like I said, all these files, the JWT tutorial, the client as well, all of them will be made available. Just check the link in the description below. You have them. If you have any questions or queries, please, you can just use the comment section below, and I'll attend to it personally, or someone from the team can attend to it. So don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and follow us on our social media platforms. Thank you very much. I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.